Hi everyone, welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today guys, we're going to be going through the new moon in Sagittarius forecast. Just basically sharing with you some of my thoughts, perspectives, and basically what I'm seeing in the astrology. So this is quite an interesting new moon that took place. I for one have definitely enjoyed the Scorpio transit that we've just went through, although I think many of us will agree that it has been incredibly intense. We've definitely been pulled into the depths of our own psychology and really have been surveying what we are and really trying to understand our intentions and our motives and really get to the bottom of the emotional psychology that exists within our consciousness. And a large part of that experience has also been about the culmination of the Saturn in Scorpio cycle. Remember that Saturn is now, moving out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius by the end of December this year. And it's been there for 2 years. Saturn's been in Scorpio for 2 years, and we've definitely been feeling that energy on an intense level. We've been completely and utterly metamorphosizing the way that we have seen our world. We've definitely transformed an incredible amount. I mean, not only was Saturn in Sagittarius during the Grand Cardinal Cross that happened in April, it's also been through the change of Jupiter into Leo and some other astrological events, like for instance the south nodes and north nodes that moved out of Taurus and Scorpio and now into Libra and Aries. We had the lunar eclipses that just recently took place, and the ones that were also happening in the beginning of this year as well. And Mars, of course, so there has been an incredible amount of like shifting and energetic change, and a large part of that process obviously gets filtered through the Saturn reality that we exist within. Remember that Saturn correlates to our reality, the structure of how we see and build the fabric of our time and space. It's how we experience it. So with Scorpio, we've definitely been experiencing this last month, but on a 2-year basis. So this last month shouldn't have really been that difficult, although a part of the experience that would have made it more difficult in terms of like experiencing it was the fact that it was culminating. So this got this like Piscean feel to it. There's like a lot of chaos. There's a lot of trying to find the ultimate meaning in this process, and really putting the kind of like we've literally had the training wheels taken away from us in terms of understanding what the Scorpio vibration has been about, with Saturn. And these training wheels have come off, and we've started to say, okay, let's try and walk this path, with this new information that we've experienced as we've changed through Saturn in Scorpio. So an incredibly powerful month that just took place for us. For me, on a personal level, I experienced an incredible amount of transmutation. There's been a lot of stuff that has come up for me that I've been able to heal through and confront and really try to understand and analyze the nature of my own patriarchal wounds and understand the nature of my own psychology. But on a more lighter note, in terms of the fact that we have also been transforming so much within our consciousness, the recognition of our desires, to really understand what are our desires, what is this new sense of purpose and direction that we have and what we're feeling, with the recent fire trine that took place with Mars moving through Sagittarius in September and the beginning of October. We got an impulse, a sensation of like, right, this is a new direction. I feel this somewhere, but I don't know what it is. And this Saturn cycle that just took place right now, and of course the Sun that just moved through it, and Mercury at this stage, we really got the opportunity to access the intentions, understand our motives and agendas. Why am I doing this? Why do I feel this way? And I think it's really important for us to recognize these words that I'm sharing with you right now, these ideas of desire and what are my motives and intentions and agendas, etc., because it's that where everything stems from. At the end of the day, if we're setting an intention to create something and it's scattered or it's not really clear, what we're going to manifest is something that is exactly going to be from that. So the intention here, the idea is that every one of us has felt this Jupiter and Leo cycle. Every one of us felt this new sense of special purpose with Uranus and Aries. And with Mars moving through Sag in September, October, that linked up, and we got this intense, direction. We got this feeling of the purpose, but it was there. The universe kind of said to us, hey, by the way, look what's coming along. But before, we need to kind of mature a little bit with these cycles. Let's pay attention to this. And that was the Scorpio cycle. They're really, really getting to the depths of our psychology and the agendas and the intentions, and understanding on what our desires are. So an incredibly powerful month. And so now we move into Sagittarius. And in terms of the way that the zodiac works, of course, it's a beautiful thing to experience now, because we've now culminated, we've transmuted stuff. Neptune's gone direct for us on the 20th, when was it, on the 16th, if I'm not mistaken, of November. And we got an incredible amount of insight, through this Neptune transit. And we're now going to link that spirituality. We're going to start to understand, in a more in-depth way of what the next journey is all about. And now with the Sun, the Moon, and Venus all in Sagittarius, the intention is to say, okay, we've got this idea from Scorpio, we've got this intention, we know there's something deeper over here, we know that we are alive in that sense. Let's go and explore it. Let's take the arrow and let's shoot it into the distance, and let's follow it. Let's see where that trailblazing fire of light leads us, and let's follow that thing, and let's see what this journey takes us on board. And it's about discovering our truths. So there's new horizons that are available for all of us at this point in time. And in terms of the Saturn cycle that's going to now be moving into Sagittarius at the end of the year, this little Sun escapade, this month's cycle with the Sun moving in Sagittarius, is going to be about kind of like reigniting a little bit of the flames, or that existed with Mars, and making a trine to Uranus and Jupiter. But it's also going to be kind of like shedding a little bit of light and insight into the Saturn transits that's going to be in Sagittarius, for the next 2 years. So it's doing that as well. And then one of the most important things to recognize is that Jupiter on the 8th of December is actually going retrograde. Now, Jupiter and Sagittarius are the same archetype within our consciousness. They are vibrating the same way, which means that what we have here is the Sun moving into Sag, with Venus and Mercury, etc., and preparing us for this retrograde motion of Jupiter in Leo, okay? And the synchronicity here is that before we can actually start really actualizing our dreams, before we can actually start getting into the space to expand and explore, we need to take into account that Saturn's going to go retrograde, next year into Scorpio. And then maybe in about July, Saturn's going to completely and utterly go forward and commit and go direct into Sagittarius, right? So that's next year, June, July. And Jupiter would have then finished its cycle in June, July in Leo, which implies that now our reality is set to go. We're set to go. So it's only next year that we'll start to really, really, really get to the sense of like aliveness when it comes to this new direction. I think April will be an incredibly powerful month for us in terms of finding out our dreams and following our intuition and so on and so forth, and searching for this new earth that we are essentially creating. But so April's going to be an incredibly powerful month there, with the Sun moving into Aries. But I suspect, and I see in terms of the synchronicities, that this cycle of the Sun moving in Sag and obviously Jupiter going retrograde is more about focusing on the special destiny that we have. So there's still a lot of work to go before we can really start to allow ourselves to be released into the wild and say, right, this is the purpose, this is the space. So we're on the new horizons. We're right at the top over there. We've just submerged from the depths of the Scorpio layer, and so now we're really, really getting to the surface, and we're seeing, okay, like, what do we have? Where are we looking? But there's still some searching to go. There's still some exploring to go. There's still some linkage to go. There's still some stuff to do in terms of 2014 and 2015, the beginning of the year. So in terms of like the full head-on, like, this is our special purpose, I think that we will start to get that quest next year, July. But up until then, it's a lot about like really getting used to this new energy, like fitting, when you buy some shoes for the first time and you put your feet into them, it feels sort of like new and fresh and exciting. and yet at the same time there's this feeling of like it's not comfortable enough. I haven't been or worn them in yet. That's where I feel we are in that sense. It's like getting into that space, feeling this new vibration. What does it feel like? How does it make me feel? These are the type of questions that I would be asking myself. Is how does this make me feel? What does this new journey allow me to do? How can I prosper from it? But at the same time, the incredible lesson that's been happening over here, and that is Saturn squaring Jupiter. Now I'll show you guys the chart in a moment, and I'll expand more on what I'm talking about. But the Saturn square the Jupiter in astrology, so Scorpio square Leo, you know, Jupiter's in Leo and Saturn's in Scorpio, is about saying, hey guys, okay, we're just about to you know, release ourselves. We're just about to get onto this new horizon. We're seeking things, but we need to kind of allow ourselves to slowly mature into it. We need to get comfortable with this new vibration. We need to get comfortable with this. So the pictures that come through to me, which I'd written in the article as well, is that it's like when a kid gets a new bicycle for the first time, you don't instantly just put them on 2 wheels and say, right, go, and then you don't watch them. There's a period of time where you watch the child and you also put some training wheels on it. Why? So that the kid can become used to the bike, used to the way that it works, etc. Same thing with parenting, you know, for at least 5 years of your life, just as the baby's born, you spend an incredible amount of time just observing. Where's the child? And eventually after a period of time, they start to step into their independence a little bit, very, you know. So, and that's when you can start to sort of say, okay, I can leave the kid for 5 minutes, etc. You know, it'll be okay. So the point I'm trying to make here is that there is an incredible growth, there's incredible expansion, there's incredible newness, but it's so brand new that we got to be really, really careful about just blowing ourselves out and getting extremely exhausted and allowing ourselves to, in a sense, become so overwhelmed by this newness and this excitement that at the same time we peter out. So it's about stamina, it's about maturity, it's about allowing ourselves to be in this space and allowing ourselves to get into this new vibration in a way that is slow and thoughtful. And we've got to think about it, we've got to plan, we've got to understand in that way. So it's a really big part of the astrology at this stage, in my opinion, you know, what I see at this stage. And including the fact that Pluto is, you know, in Capricorn is just, you know, signifying that to me in that sense, because Pluto's only just left the 10 degrees of the cycle. So we know we're so fresh. So yeah. Okay guys, well, what I wanted to share with you was that picture on the left-hand side, which I felt was really, really appropriate. I love it. It is absolutely fantastic because it really encapsulates the essence of what I'm trying to say. You know, at the bottom over here, in fact, not only does the new moon experience itself, you know, completely and utterly in the center there, but where the heads are and the tree starts to intertwine, but you've got this intimate connection between nature with the male and the feminine, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, okay? And they're intertwined and they're connected. The Scorpio, that's where we merged from. And we're merging from the organic earth in the sense. And as we are now intertwined within each other, as we are now connected to nature, and nature is connected to us, and we allow that vibration to exist within us, we start to then expand our consciousness into the infinite realms. And we pick up all the constellations that are there and such. So you can see how it's starting to mutate. That's what Sagittarius is all about. I said to you guys in the previous video that I'd start to share a little bit of truth about the nature of the archetypes. And Sagittarius is part of the square between, or the mutability square between Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces. They're mutable signs, okay? And the mutability means to transmute. So we're looking at the 12th house in the zodiac. The 12th house comes just before the first house. So we are mutating from one form to another. You see how this is working? So, and it's talking about changing form. It's talking about changing direction in that way as well, which is why when you look at the leaves of a tree and the branches can be seen as mutable energy, because the tree trunk itself is essentially the fixed essence, the fixed signs. And then as soon as the tree starts to expand and say, hey, I need to know more of the truth, I need to expand myself, I need to see different directions. So we have mutability, and that's what mutability is. And Sag is about mutability, and it's about exploring different perspectives and truths, etc., etc., understanding the diversity of light that exists and how we perceive the spectrum of light in the sense, right? So 360 degrees correlates to angles, and the perspective that we have is our own perspective. and that is the Sag archetype. What is my perspective on the situation relative to what I can see? And then you see the square between Sag and Pisces, which is what? Which is the understanding that my truth is connected to the totality of it, in that sense, right? Remember Pisces, the totality of everything, and Sagittarius, my connection to the totality of it, but my own perspective of it, and also my intuitive knowing. So in terms of Sag Pisces, that connection, it's all about that intuitive knowing. And what you have here on the other side, from Sag to Virgo, is the experience of discernment, right? In that sense, right? Discerning which truth, discerning the lies, which is truth, which is half-truths, which is assumptions, because Sag will correlate to those things of knowing half the truth in that way, because you can only share your perspective of it. So Virgo will come along and it will allow us to have that discernment and that ability to allow ourselves to understand what is the truth and what isn't truth, what is your truth, what is my truth, etc., etc. Now, one of the things that's really, really interesting, and I wanted to share this with you guys, was in terms of the astrology itself. Sagittarius has the fire element to it. So you have the special purpose that exists within Aries. You have the special destiny that exists within Leo. And then you go and link that belief system, that philosophy, that sense of what is my truth to those two there. And you have the fire trine that allows us to pursue whatever it is that we have come to do on this earth, whatever the direction is that the soul is intending to experience in this lifetime. So if you look at your astrology charts and you see Aries, you see Leo, and you see Sag, you will see how the soul is actually actualizing its special purpose and special destiny, and what type of truth it will be allowing or filtering this through, in that sense. What type of truth will be giving you the necessary environment to be able to understand who you are and what you are. So Sag is a really, really cool archetype. I've got an incredible amount of it in my own astrology chart, and you know, Sag will be expanding, and it's a joyful experience. In evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green was talking about Sagittarius correlating to the ability to learn to laugh at oneself, to laugh at yourself, in the sense of Scorpio took everything so seriously. And then at the same time, it was like once we merged from the depths of and the darkness of Scorpio, we come to the light of things and we like submerge. We go, oh, okay, everything's light and fluffy, and to be okay about it. So that's why you'll see the archetype of Sag always correlating to like joy and happiness and expansion and jovialness, because it's that sense of like just learning to laugh, just learning to see the lighter side of life in that sense as well. And its connection to Cancer actually correlates to the humor in that sense, like how you make the tummy laugh. You know, your stomach, you always laugh from the stomach. It's like, that would have made me really, really happy in that way. And so fire trine, and also a connection to Leo as well. So cool stuff when it comes to Sagittarius. Great, guys. What I'm going to do now is move over to the chart and just show you the type of astrology that I see over there. Okay, guys, so this is the astrology chart for the new moon in Sagittarius. And as you can see over here, there's a lot of squares taking place, a lot of tension aspects that are manifesting at this point in time, you know, and those aspects over there. Of course, the moon would have moved across by now. And then there's another inconjunct over here. So it's not a really sort of like happy-go-lucky chart in the sense that Jupiter or Sagittarius correlates to joyfulness, but there is something over here that's definitely showing an incredible amount of evolution in this sense. So I'm going to try to convey this message over to you guys right now. So the first thing that I actually want to share with you guys in terms of this is the sun, and the sun's placement now into Sagittarius, this little party that's happening over here. One thing to note that's interesting about the situation is that the sun, the moon, and Venus are all in Sagittarius. So there's a big emphasis on the nature of Venus in the astrology chart. And as you can see, you know, the north node is in Libra, and the outside or external side of Venus actually correlates to Libra. Okay, it's how we externalize our resources, how we externalize our needs, etc., and how we share with other people in that sense with regards to Venus, how we actually interact with other people's value systems. And you can see here that the North Node is actually aspected by Pluto, and it's also was aspected by Mars as well. So there's an increased information over here in terms of what actually is happening with regards to Sag. And in my perspective, the Venus aspect in terms of Sag is how we're exploring okay? How we're exploring and expanding the nature of our values, okay? And we're trying to integrate and re-understand our needs in that sense. And Venus is also making a square to this Neptune over here. Now, in terms of the actual spiritual aspect of what Sag and Pisces correlate to, it correlates to our intuition. And the reason why and how we get this is that this is the all-knowing. This is the source of creation, the source. This is where we are, right? We're connected to it. This is what Neptune and Sag in Pisces is talking about, how we are connecting inwardly to in ourselves, okay? And with Sagittarius over here, this is our truth. And the way that we experience our truth is by direct experience, right? When we directly experience something for ourselves, we see it for our own eyes, we actually have this emotional feeling towards it, this connection to it, then what happens is it becomes a part of our knowing. It becomes a part of our intuitive experience. Like we understand stuff. So for instance, you can travel to like, say for instance, you travel to Australia, okay? Or if anybody that's living in Australia, you travel to the other part of the world, right? You can do that travel, you can come back and you can share that story, Sagittarius, with another person, okay? And you can say it was a wonderful experience, I did this, I did that, but you shouldn't go do that, you shouldn't go do this, etc. The story that you share is talking from your intuitive experience of what your travel was like. But in terms of the other person, right, when you're sharing this truth, they can only understand it from their own imagination. So they can only interpret that story based on their Neptune imagination, okay? Pisces imagination. They can't actually have the direct experience that you had of it. So Sag connected to Pisces correlates to the relationship that we have to our intuition, and how our direct experience of something is from source is how we share our personal truth, right? And we can't do it with another person, right? So you experience things directly. So in terms of like this little Venus over here and this little connection to Neptune and Pisces, I see that it is important for us to start valuing the connection to our intuitive knowing. What we know is intuitively right for ourselves, individually and as a collective race, right? And the need to develop the sense of intuition, to learn to listen to the inner voice that exists within you, and to value it and to understand it. And then through this experience of Pluto in Capricorn and Mars in Capricorn, remember, this is the new direction. This is the new way that we're going to build our reality, okay? This is the ultimate. This is the bottom line over here. This is the ultimate thing that's happening within our psychology, is we're rebuilding and redefining ourselves. And so with this connection, with Venus in Sag connecting to Neptune that has just gone direct, okay? So it's full of insights, full of spiritual inspirations and so on and so forth. You can see that's what's needed. Squares, okay, look at that, squares to the nodal axis, in other words, Libra Aries, is that we need to integrate our intuitive knowing, our sense of what is individually for us, into the new earth, okay, the new sense of self, in other words, what is my personal truth, and then also at the same time integrating that in and finding the balance, allowing ourselves to get to make that change. See how this is working? And connecting with other people in an intuitive way, speaking from your own personal truth in that sense, and allowing the new definitions to be defined based on what you understand about yourself and your connection to your own sense of personal truth. You see how this is working over here? I hope I haven't confused anybody. But it is this little aspect, this Venus thing, that I'm really saying that we are learning to explore and express and expand our intuition and learning to listen to ourselves inwardly, to not take on other people's truths without discerning it or saying, okay, asking, what do you mean by this? All right? Allowing ourselves to read and expand our state of consciousness, but to apply discernment, to say, does this feel right for me? And also learning to feel the new direction that you have in your life. What is Source asking you to do? How are you being guided by your own intuition? And listening to that at all time. If something doesn't feel right, listen to that. Give it priority. These are the types of messages that I see are happening over here. Now, a part of this experience as well, okay, is connecting the love vibration. Remember, Neptune will also correlate to love. I mean, God is love. So from the point of view of returning back to Source, the womb, the totality of everything, the ultimate love, it is also your birthright to experience that love and to allow your intuition to vibrate from that experience and to value it, and then to integrate that into the world, right? And to build the new world based on love and acceptance, and not allowing the definitions to define us. So for instance, much of the earth at this point in time has got a lot of things where we are separate from other people. We see our differences. And the only reason why those differences exist is because of the separation from nature, the illusion that we are separate from nature. That's actually what that Neptune square Venus is also about as well. Okay? Natural laws and the illusion of being separate from that. And that's coming through the distortions that have been happening in our lives for the last, 2008, since we've awoken to that experience. So a large part of this Saturn in Scorpio lesson that I'm bringing into now has been about trying to allow ourselves to heal from a lot of the damage and distortions that have been taking place, and to allow acceptance and love to be part of the new earth, our new definitions, and to move in the direction that is integrating other people's values and intuitive knowings, etc., etc. And it's through that experience that we'll be able to start accessing and building a community that is completely and utterly devoted to saving humanity in a way, and allowing ourselves to build a new way of living that is including of multi-cultures. Sagittarius correlates to culture, right? Because different people's perspectives, truths, philosophies, that's what Sag talks about. So valuing those things as well, and integrating and linking it and finding the connection, connecting the different cultures. We are not separate. We're all one. That's what that's all about there. Okay? And allowing this new definitions to express that. Now, the next thing that I wanted to share with you guys, so that's what that was over there, right? The next thing I wanted to share with you guys was this aspect, okay? Can you see that Scorpio Mercury, right? And it's making a connection to Jupiter and Leo. And then Jupiter is also making a 150-degree aspect all the way to there. So there's that aspect there, there's those aspects there. And then from Neptune, it's also got those squares, which you know about now, right? They're all connecting to this little story over here as well. That in this new direction that we're going in this new definition, the way that we're defining ourselves, how we are constructing the way that we experience life on Earth, the way that we're doing this little symbol of Jupiter moving through Leo is about actualizing that sense of new direction, that new purpose, finding the special destiny that I have, and then linking it to society. This is actually what this 150-degree aspect correlates to, okay? That when we have a special purpose in our lives, we all have dreams, we all have a way of wanting to actualize ourselves in society, and the purpose over here is to link the special purpose and destiny in with the society that we build. So a large part of this experience, a large part of the story over here is asking yourself the question, how am I integrating my special purpose into the world? That is benefit for the whole, the totality of everything. Linking my truth, okay, in with society that has balance and harmony. You see how this is working? So my special purpose needs to be linked with society, that then allows us to work in a collective way and to allow for us to be in a balanced and harmonic way. This symbol is over here, pardon me. And then allowing us to be connected. We're all the one. Where do I belong? What is my purpose? What is my destiny? What is my role? And this is what we're finding out here. This is what we're exploring. So it's about asking yourself those questions. What does my special purpose have for the world? And how can I integrate that special purpose into the world? How can I be defined in the world by that? What does it look like? Etc., etc. So these are the type of questions you can be asking yourself relative to all these symbols that are taking place in this sense. Pretty exciting, isn't it? Pretty exciting. So that's what this new moon this new moon in Sag can be about, in terms of really allowing our spiritual selves to be connected to Source and to find the special purpose that we have been working for in Saturn, in Sag. We've really worked a lot in this sense, in this space over here. And now it's time to start finding this special purpose, right? Finding out, journeying, exploring it, shooting the arrows, trying different things. But at the same time also paying attention to what is working for you and what isn't working for you through listening to your intuition. Let your source guide you to the place that you need to be. You will be handpicked by the universe in that sense. So it's about developing that sense of intuition, knowing what's right and wrong for you, allowing that sense of guidance to take place in that way. Okay? Cool, guys. I really hope that clarified a lot for you in this point in time. I didn't see that there was much to talk about in this chart other than that main story and that main picture over there. And, you know, in terms of like trying to make sense of all these red lines over there and to really put it into perspective, I think that was the case. Just allowing yourself to be connected to your intuition, allowing yourself to be guided by source, listen to what feels right. And it's that story over there that we're going to be developing now, okay? So that we can ultimately see what the special purpose is here, Jupiter and Leo. And then slowly starting to integrate this into the Pluto and Capricorn, this new definition for us. So that's where we are, this new journey. Super exciting. Okay, is everybody ready for the heat that's about to take place for us this month? Is everybody ready to start reviewing the nature of their sense of special purpose that they have and the special destiny? Are we now really going to start getting into the space where we can start connecting to our intuition and understanding what it means and allowing ourselves to deepen the sense of awareness that we have, to feel more? This is an incredibly powerful opportunity for us to really start to get in touch with the feeling, the energies that are around us, and feel what is working for us, feel that isn't working for us, and allow ourselves to go into that vibration, to follow the Neptunian sort of flow where source guides us in directions, learning to know which is your source saying to you, hey, by the way, take this opportunity over here, or this is not working out for you at this point in time, but here's something else that's happening for you, and allowing yourself to really be connected to that space and flowing along that experience, but also at the same time allowing yourself to mature, to be held into the space of being guided in that sense, because we're still in a molding phase, but it definitely feels like the new horizons are here, and what a wonderful space to be in terms of that. Before I go ahead and actually end this video, guys, I'd like to read to you the mantra that I've created for you for this month, okay? Right, guys, this is your new moon mantra for Sagittarius. I'm connected to the essence of my soul and know that I'm what I have been searching for. I'm rising back to the surface of reality and see the world with new eyes. It's now time to ponder the endless possibilities of this world, what to experience, how to live, and why. It is time to start manifesting my new commitment to myself and the world, to bring my truth into reality, to experience it firsthand. I have been into the darkness and confronted my fears, and now I know what it has to be a sovereign being of this earth. I'm ready to explore what I came here for and why. I'm ready to live. I'm stepping into the light. I am the light. I am the change. And I really hope that sort of like gives you a lot of inspiration, guys, to start searching for exactly what I'm sharing with you right now, to recognize the light within you and to understand the essence of your soul in this experience. Great, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this new moon in Sag video and it gave you some insights and also inspiration in that sense. If you like the videos, guys, please hit the like and subscribe button. Come over to simonvorster.com after this video, the link's in the description, and check out all the new stuff that I've got on my website over there. And I highly recommend having a soul guidance reading with myself if you're wanting to know specifically how your soul's been evolving through this period of time. And also check out the astrology beginners course that I've got on the site as well. If you're interested in learning astrology, all the details over there. I've got a class at the moment, and everybody's like learning super well at this stage. So I'm really excited about exploring that adventure more. So yeah. And if you're interested in actually reading the full moon, or sorry, pardon me, the new moon in Sag article, the link is in the description below as well. And yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out the Facebook page, make sure you go check that out. And other than that, I think that's about it. Great, guys. Have a fantastic new moon, and I will see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.